Gabriel Hetland is an Associate Professor of Latin American, Caribbean and Latino Studies and Sociology at the University of Albany. He joins us now from New York. Welcome to the program, Gabriel. In just 1 week, the Trump administration has escalated military pressure on Venezuela to a level that we've never seen before, including threats, as we heard there, of ground attacks and now nuclear-capable bomber flights. What message is the US trying to send here?
I think the message is you should be scared to Nicolás Maduro. It doesn't seem like there's really any credibility behind the drug claims that the Trump administration is putting forward. There's, massive drugs that come through the Pacific and very little, relatively speaking, through Venezuela. So it seems clear that this is designed to scare Maduro into thinking that there's a regime change operation. There's certainly figures in the Trump administration who are pushing for regime change, although it's unclear if Trump fully supports that yet.
Well, that's right. As you say, the White House continues to frame these actions as part of a war on drug trafficking. Yet some experts, as you alluded to, argue that most narcotics don't even pass through the Caribbean. So is this really about drugs, or is it more about regime change? And why Maduro specifically?
I think it's definitely much more about regime change, although the drug angle, I think, is important for the sort of symbolism. Trump has been claiming that there's a sort of narco-terrorists invading the United States and that Venezuela is connected to this. There's no evidence that supports that. There's no evidence that any of the boats, the 5 so far that have been blown up, have anything to do with drugs. The best evidence available from some New York Times reports suggests that some of the people blown up might be fishermen. So signs point much more to the idea that this is a regime change operation, or at least a sort of preparation for a possible regime change. I think there's various reasons that Trump is obsessed with Maduro, and one of the main ones is that Marco Rubio, his Secretary of State, has been very focused and sort of obsessed with Maduro for many, many years, largely based in part on his origins in Florida politics and the influence of Cuban and Venezuelan lobbyists there with respect to Rubio. So I think for Trump, thinking about why Venezuela right now, it could serve his domestic agenda in various ways. It could distract from the Epstein files. It could drum up support with the courts for deporting Venezuelans. So that might be another reason. I'm not sure he's actually ready to do the invasion, but it's very, very worrisome to see the actions that the U.S. has been taking recently.
Well, given that the CIA and Special Operations Forces appear to be active near Venezuelan territory and that the US isn't ruling out land strikes, how close are we, in your view, to a full-blown military intervention, and how unprecedented would that be in modern US-Latin America relations?
We're very close. We're the closest we've been at any point in the last 25 years when the U.S. has repeatedly sort of tried to destabilize the Venezuelan government under Hugo Chavez and then under Nicolás Maduro. This wouldn't be unprecedented in U.S.-Latin American relations overall. The U.S. has, of course, supported many coups against democratically elected presidents. Nicolás Maduro is much less legitimate, I would say that. But nonetheless, they have deposed lots of leaders in Latin America repeatedly. And the fact that Maduro has, questions of his legitimacy in no way would justify the horrificness of a invasion or a sort of the catastrophic quality of that. It would just be awful for Venezuela. But the risks of it are very real right now. And there's a bunch of reasons behind that for, Trump's domestic politics and then the various interests of people within Trump's cabinet.
Okay, Gabriel Hetland, we will have to leave it there, but great to get your analysis. Thank you.